Welcome to the REPXPERT conference vlog. Ahead of the REPXPERT conference on the 22nd of May, I'm speaking to those who are presenting and attending the event to find out their latest thoughts on the aftermarket. Today's guest is Dean Lomas. From building his first engine at 15, Dean has seen the aftermarket from the ground up. Working as an apprentice and winning a National Apprenticeship Award, he's seen franchise dealers, heavy plant equipment, mobile technician, and garage owner values. And having been given a chance to succeed at such a young age, he's keen to pay that back, taking on apprentices and training the next generation of technicians through his business. I'm delighted to welcome Dean, and thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, no problem, Phil. It's great to be on here today.
I think the first question I should ask is why should technicians and garage owners be attending the REPXPERT conference?
Well, at the end of the day, what we've got to do is we've got to share information. And that's what the Rep Expert conference is about. It's to get business owners and technicians and old school mechanics like me with the dirty old hands in the same place so we can pass information over. There's certain things I know about vehicles and industry, what other people don't know. And then there's a lot of information out there what I don't know. And if we don't meet up in it in a mutual place, we're never going to know what's out there to get the information to make our lives easier.
And that information is key at the moment, isn't it? Because there's so many challenges in not just the aftermarket, the automotive industry as a whole, but of course that all filters down to the aftermarket then, doesn't it?
We want to be at paramount of our industry in our area is what we're going to do about going further in depth into gateway access and integration, making sure we can do service history reminders and logins, and the whole motor vehicle industry has been kept in the dark for so long by the manufacturers that it's about time that this information is passed down to us. And this is why I'm more than happy to speak to anyone about the information I've got and to get more information from other people, as I keep on saying.
There's other technologies coming through, electrification, ADAS. So are these other challenges that garages are facing and it's good to talk about those things?
Yeah, I mean, with it changing so much, what equipment do we buy? What investments do we go into? I mean, we're very lucky. We're still uh, heavily investing on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis into keeping up with the technologies. I mean, wheel bearings are changing on a weekly basis. You know yourselves as Schaeffler, the wheel bearing technology is light years ahead than the guy in his garage at home doing his cousin's brakes and wheel bearings. So with the technology moving forward, we need to be informed that if we change a component, what do we have to do as a consequence from changing that component? And it's only speaking with the market leaders that we find out that information, because with as I found over the years, when you're in a garage unit, when you're in a business, whether you're the owner or the apprentice and anywhere in between, you don't see outside that building. You could speak to your mate down a pub who's been a mechanic for 10 years and stuff, but you don't get involved in that. And this is why I'm bringing a few of our technicians, even my service managers coming along for the day, because we need them to see, we need their eyes to be open to what's changing. Because there's no point me knowing it because I get stuff put into my brain and I wander into the next room and I forgot what I've just remembered and it's gone to the next, it's gone lay aside. So my staff, every single member of our team needs to know what's changing.
And I guess events, conferences, things like this, they really help. It's speaking to other business owners, hearing what the keynote speakers and the presenters have to say, discussing it all, and as you said, making sure that everybody's up to speed on everything that's going on at the moment.
Yeah, with it being such a big event which has been heavily invested into by garage owners and the like. You've got Andy Saver. He's phenomenal in his knowledge in the actual industry about how to run a garage.
Mm.
You know, and it comes to people like him standing on stage. If he can teach my member of staff one thing, and bring one great thing away from that event. And with Tim Benson who stood on the stage, if he can tell one person in that place one thing that they can take back, it's worth it all day long. And the great thing is, it's a free event, and who doesn't love a free event?
Exactly, exactly. And I guess as well, would you say it's more beneficial? There are some who would argue that the day in the garage working on the cars is more beneficial than attending conferences and events. So would you argue that that's not the case, that the information that you'd get from these events is really beneficial to businesses going forward?
Well, this is a two-sided coin, this argument, because I know that I'm going to lose a set amount of money by a few of us not being in the workshop for the day, or Jack, who's coming as service managers, coming away from the business. So I know we've got to reduce our workload for that event. So all we can do is prepare. And I believe if you don't educate people, they'll never learn. And we set aside 15 days, up to 15 days training per person. It doesn't matter whether you're brushing up or whether, like myself, I want to go on 15 days training and educational events to gain this. And the sad thing about what I've learned over the years is garage owners don't see the value what's going to be brought from this event. And this is what I need to reiterate to garage owners. If you just bring one technician out of your garage, or just send the technician, the garage owner doesn't have to go, you know. Or if the garage owner just takes away, and I know us garage owners myself, I'm scared to death of leaving it. I don't want to go on holiday. I don't want to shut for 10 days at Christmas because we don't know what we're going to miss at the workshop. But what's one day? One day to be taken away from your garage environment to be involved in such a great event is not going to significantly change the business in a bad way, but it can significantly change it in a good way.
Exactly, and you can, I guess, plan around that as well, and ensure that workloads are manageable, especially with digital options available now for that.
Well, the thing is, even with a paper diary, we've gone with Garage Hive now. We really integrated into the technology, what's behind it, so our business can run more functional. I We've got apps where I can sit at home if I could log into it. I'm terrible with passwords and technology, but from that, you've got until May the 22nd to prepare a day in the diary to go to this event.
It is all about organisation, isn't it? And that's the same, I think, with all of the work that you guys in the garages do. It's all about making sure that you're organised, making sure that you know what's coming as well.
Yes, and that's it. We structure. We've got Asa, who's our diag tech. He's coming along, so we know not to book any technical diags in for the day. We've got Cade, our young apprentice, who does all of our clutches and cam belts. But he's staying here. He's here for the day, and he's going to be any clutches and cam belts that can be done. We've got Mike, who's a master tech, Renault, Hyundai, a few manufacturers, master tech. He's going to be helping support. We've got Paul, who's doing the MOTs. So we've got Will, the other apprentice, and we've got another apprentice as well. We've got five, which are going to be on site out of nine of us to be able to make sure that the business is ticking over. We're not going to make any profit, but it doesn't matter about that one day about the profit. It matters about educating the staff because I know that my staff who go to that event will bring something back, which will increase the business.
And I just want to actually ask you about, you mentioned apprentices there. There's been talk about skills shortage and concerns about bringing the younger generation in. What are your views? What do you think the aftermarket needs to do to attract younger people into workshops, and how important is it to do that?
So this is what I'm passionate about. This is where I've always been. I started my business on the 1st of September 2011. And from that day, I've had an apprentice with me. So when I knew I was starting my business, I contacted the local college. I said, "Who's your best person?" And they gave me this lad, and he was with me for 5 years because he was incredible. Within a year, he was doing clutches, cam belts, cylinder heads, and everything because he was stuck beside me. You know, if we don't bring people into this trade, there is no trade. In 15 years' time, I'm 43 now. No matter what, I'm retiring at 57. So I will not be turning a spanner from 57-year-old. Someone needs to replace me. And the only person who's going to replace me is an apprentice. So at the moment, we've got 8 ramps. We've got 5 mechanics. Got me. No, we've got me, Mike, Asa, Morsey, and Cade. Cade is just coming out of his apprenticeship. We've got 5 of us who are extremely competent at our job. We've qualified. We've got the skill level to each section that we are set to.
Mm,
And we've also got another 3 apprentices because soon enough, Asa won't want to be doing dives all day.
mm.
He needs to pass his skill level onto someone else. And then Mike needs to pass his skill level onto someone else. And Cade, the like, and Morsey, Paul, who I keep on mentioning, he trained me up 28 years ago. And with him training me up 28 years ago, I know what he can deliver. And he is delivering a skill still to the younger generation. And if we don't bring the young people in, we're stuck.
Mm.
There'll be no one selling parts, there'll be no one having the cars repaired, and the industry will just stop. And all you'll get is oil finish. No offense, but people spinning oil filters at main deals, and that's it. We need to go into colleges.
And I imagine as well that the younger minds are more aware of new technologies. That's not to say that the older generation can't learn, but the younger minds have been around that for longer. They're more aware of software and computing and electricals and coding, which seems to be taking a greater part of vehicle design these days.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I've got about 4 children. 2 of them potentially will go into the motor vehicle industry. One of them is going to be doing spanners like I do, and the other one can do the background technical issues. You know, in it's the difference between, as you say, you're going to need the kid who can go in and plug in an interface and read the code in and then send it off to the manufacturers and bring back the data and implement it into the car, into the vehicle. But what we also need is we need someone to replace the actual mechanical components. So whether you want someone who's a genius at coding and reading computer software, you also need the mechanical hands-on. Without doubt, you need two to do that one vehicle because everyone has got their own niche of what they like to do. Asa loves going on the diag kit he's got and reading the code in, and then you've got myself who'll go, oh well, I'll pull that turbo out the way to do that EGR valve, which is a 7 to 12 hour job, because that's where I like to be.
Mm.
You know, and the passion with it is I went to a meeting at South Cheshire College 3 weeks ago, and we're setting up an evening where we can get garage owners in the area to go down. They've offered to have their catering department put on food for us. We've had their media department putting together a post so we can go on social media to tell everyone about the event. You know, we've got to get the kids involved.
Absolutely. It's a case of future-proofing the business as well, isn't it? You said, the generation can take over from yourself, keep it going, and ultimately, we're always going to need technicians. We're always going to need garages.
Well, if you think about just this town alone, there's 80,000 people live in this town. So you average that to one car per 80,000 households. So you've got 2 cars per household. So that's 160,000 vehicles. You know, there's not enough vehicles in this town, and unless we bring the people in to train up, the vehicles won't get maintained and they'll be sat lay aside on the side of the road for 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
I just want to ask you as well about electric vehicles. Like, a lot's been made of electric vehicles. They're coming through. We've got government-related mandates saying that 22% of registrations for car makers have to be electric. Is it important to be training in electric vehicle repair maintenance now, do you believe?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we're lucky enough to have 2 of us at level 3 and 2 of us at level 4 EV trained. And the new company that we just opened or just started open up is Cheshire EV. So we're looking at the longevity in that market because everyone's idea, with no one can predict the future.
Hmm.
And whether the government state we have to have all electric hybrids or all electric vehicles by a certain date, that goalpost can move. But what we want to do is make sure that all of our staff are safe when working on them vehicles. If it's just a simple set of brake pads, we need to make sure they're safe because it's my responsibility to make sure as soon as someone walks through that door, employee or customer or anyone who comes to visit us is safe around the electric vehicles we have on site. And it's paramount that whatever happens is we've done our utmost best to train everyone. So nothing, so if the inevitable of an accident may happen, that we've covered all areas.
And as well, you mentioned sort of the parts and that. I think it's important to note that there's many parts in electric vehicle that are wearable consumables that garages are used to on a day-to-day basis. They might be slightly different or slightly tweaked for technology, but they still exist.
And this is where I've been moving forward. I think I spoke to Alistair or Tony a few years ago. I'm sure they were at an event down at Wolverhampton, and I said the way that I believe that Schaeffler will have to move forward into is everything has a bottom ball joint,
Mm.
everything has a wheel bearing, everything has a steering a trackward end on the end of a steering rack. You know, the running gear of the vehicle, whatever powers it, is a byproduct. But what we need to do is make sure the vehicle is safe while it's in contact with the road.
Exactly, exactly. And alongside electric vehicles as well, there's still going to be millions of internal combustion engine vehicles as well to service. So
Yes.
realistically, for the independent sector, it's going to be a future industry that's going to continue going forwards for many years as well.
And this is why we're going to train our we already have trained our staff, making sure the vehicle is running true down the road. So as I say, we can isolate a battery, we can remove a battery pack, and we can change individual cells. And as progression moves, these items are going to be more readily available for the electric components, which will be a serviceable item soon. The motors and the inverter units, they're all going to be serviceable items where we can just take them out, replace them for another one, etc. But where Schaeffler are in the market is the actual, as I said, the wheel bearings, the trackward ends, the bottom ball joints, and stuff like that. The vehicle has to run true down the road. If it runs true down the road, this is where you said before, ADAS. Where do we go with the technology with ADAS? Because half of it started to become its own dynamic ADAS calibrations, and or do we go and spend £25,000 on an ADAS kit? But whatever we do, we have to ensure that the process we do when we're changing a track end has its final result. Does it have to have a calibration? Whether it's dynamic, um, or we have to get it set up properly. So it's all about training, and this is why we're going to the Schaeffler Rep Expert conference, is because I know people there who will have the kit. We
Mm.
know people there who are working on that type of equipment, and this is what I'm going for. I'm finding out what I've got to prepare for tomorrow.
Future proofing a business, conference
Yes,
attendance, it all goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
without a doubt, we need these conferences.
And I guess as well, being backed by a rep expert, by a brand that's got so much to offer the aftermarket as well. Again, it gives you the opportunity to network, to make contacts, to find out more. As you said, the technology is one thing, and vehicles are becoming technological, almost computers on wheels. But those
Yeah.
wheels need to be pointing straight and true for it to work in the first instance.
Yes, yeah, without a doubt.
Dean, that's everything. Really appreciate you speaking to me today.
Yeah, it's no problem, and it's a pleasure to be involved in this. You know, we've got to pass this information on, and to be a part of it is a very small part of a greater thing.
Mm.
So everyone, if you haven't logged on yet and you haven't signed up to the Rep Expert event, get signed on. You will learn something and you will take at least one thing back with you. I don't know what it'll be. I don't know what I don't know what I'm going to bring back yet. I hope it's a free cup and a t-shirt and a couple of pens. And if I can find them little QR codes, I'm going to be taking a few pictures of them as well for me Schaeffler points.
Absolutely. Couldn't have put it better myself.
Yeah.
Dean,
Brilliant. Well, thank you for your time, Phil.
no, thank you. It's my pleasure. And thank you for watching as well. Don't forget to register for your attendance at the REPXPERT conference on the 22nd of May. You can find more details at repexpert.co.uk and click on the events tab, or scan the QR code in this video, which will take you straight through to the REPXPERT conference registration page. And watch out for further REPXPERT conference vlogs coming very soon.